You know what's funny? Most people think saving $10,000 is 10 times harder than saving $1,000. Basic math, right? 10 times the money equals 10 times the effort. Wrong. Dead wrong. The reality is completely backwards from what your brain tells you. Saving your first $1,000 is actually the hardest financial challenge you'll ever face. And once you crack that code, getting to $10,000 happens so fast it'll make your head spin. I know that sounds insane. You're probably thinking, how can saving more money be easier? That makes no sense. But stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why most people never escape financial stress, and more importantly, how you can be different. My name is Ben. I break down the real psychology of money and wealth building. If you're serious about changing how you think about money, you're in the right place, so hit subscribe and let's get started. Let me paint you a picture. Right now, there are two people watching this video. Person A has $200 in their bank account. Person B has $5,000 saved up. If I told both of them to save an additional $1,000, who do you think would hit that goal faster? You'd think person B, right? They already have more money. But here's the twist. Person A might actually struggle for months or even give up entirely, while person B could knock it out in a few weeks without breaking a sweat. The difference isn't their income, it's not their education or intelligence. The difference is momentum. And momentum in personal finance is more powerful than almost anything else. The invisible forces working against you. When you're starting from zero, or close to it, you're not just fighting against your bills and expenses. You're fighting against three invisible psychological forces that most people don't even know exist. Force number one. Decision fatigue. Every single day, you're making dozens of micro decisions about money. Should I buy this coffee? Can I afford this lunch? Is this grocery item too expensive? Each decision drains your mental energy. When you have no financial cushion, every single one of these decisions feels critical. Your brain is in constant survival mode, analyzing whether spending $3 on a bottle of water is going to ruin your week. This isn't dramatic. This is real for millions of people. The mental exhaustion from this constant decision-making is why people with tight budgets often make worse financial choices. It's not stupidity, it's cognitive overload. Your brain literally runs out of decision-making juice. Force number two, the scarcity mindset. Here's something wild that researchers discovered. When people feel financially scarce, their IQ effectively drops by 13-14 points. That's the same cognitive impairment as losing a full night's sleep. Think about what that means. When you're stressed about money, your brain literally doesn't work as well. You make poorer decisions, you can't plan as effectively for the future, and you're more impulsive. This creates a vicious cycle. Being broke makes you think like a broke person, which keeps you broke. Breaking this cycle is the real challenge of that first $1,000. Force number three, social pressure. Let's be honest about something nobody wants to admit. Your friends are probably keeping you broke. Not intentionally, they're not sabotaging you on purpose, but when everyone around you is spending money on dinners, concerts, trips, and experiences, saying no feels like social suicide. You're not just saving money when you decline that invitation. You're risking friendships, dealing with judgment, and fighting FOMO. The first $1,000 often costs you more than money. It costs you social capital.
The mathematical reality. Now, let's talk about why the math is actually on your side once you get past that first milestone. Imagine you're saving $200 a month. Simple enough, right? To hit your first $1,000, it takes 5 months. 5 months of grinding, saying no, feeling like you're getting nowhere. But here's what changes everything. Once you have that first $1,000, you're not starting from zero anymore. You're starting from a position of strength. Let's say you invest that $1,000 in a basic index fund averaging 8% annual returns. Nothing fancy, just the long-term stock market average. While you continue saving your $200 monthly, that initial $1,000 is earning approximately $80 per year. That's an extra $6.67 per month you didn't have to work for. Seems small? Watch what happens. By month 10, you saved another $1,000 from your contributions, but your investment has also grown. You're not at $2,000, you're at $2,040. By month 15, you've put in $3,000 total, but your account shows $3,135. By month 24, your $4,800 in contributions has grown to $5,120. See the pattern? The gap between what you've contributed and what you actually have keeps growing. That's compound interest doing its thing. But here's where it gets absolutely crazy. Fast forward to when you have $10,000 invested. At 8% returns, that money earns $800 per year. That's $66 per month in passive growth. Combined with your $200 monthly contribution, you're actually adding $266 per month to your wealth. That means getting from $10,000 to $11,000 takes less than 4 months instead of 5. Getting from $20,000 to $21,000 takes even less time because now your investments are generating $133 per month. The same effort that took you 5 months to save your first $1,000 now takes you less than 3 months for each additional $1,000. Same discipline, same monthly contribution, but the results are accelerating.
The psychological breakthrough. But here's the part that actually changes lives: the psychology. When you have $0 saved, the idea of financial freedom feels like a fantasy. Your brain can't even compute it. It's like trying to imagine what it's like to be an astronaut when you've never even been on a plane. But once you hit $1,000, something fundamental shifts in your identity. You're no longer someone trying to save money. You are someone who saves money. That might seem like a subtle distinction, but it's massive. Psychologists call this identity-based behavior change. When your actions align with your identity, those actions become dramatically easier to maintain. Think about it like this. A person who wants to quit smoking has to fight cravings constantly. But a person who identifies as a non-smoker doesn't even consider cigarettes as an option. The identity shift makes the behavior automatic. The same thing happens with money. Once you see yourself as someone with savings, your brain starts automatically filtering decisions through that lens. That $40 bar tab on Friday night, your brain now automatically compares it to adding $40 to your investment account. And when you see your account balance growing every month, the investment becomes more attractive than the hangover. The confidence multiplier. Here's another psychological shift that kicks in after that first $1,000. Confidence. When you've never saved money before, you don't trust yourself to do it. Deep down, you believe you're bad with money. That belief becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. But when you save $1,000, you have concrete proof that you're capable. You've demonstrated to yourself that you can delay gratification, stick to a plan, and achieve a financial goal. This confidence spills over into other areas. People who successfully save their first $1,000 often report negotiating higher salaries because they're not desperate, starting side hustles because they have a financial buffer, making better career moves because they can afford to take risks, taking calculated risks because failure won't destroy them. Why? Because they trust their ability to handle financial challenges. They've got evidence that they can build something from nothing. I've seen this pattern repeatedly. Someone saves their first $1,000 and suddenly they're asking their boss for a raise they've been putting off for 2 years. They're applying for better jobs. They're finally launching that business idea they've been sitting on. The money itself isn't what changed. It's that they now see themselves as someone who's moving forward instead of someone who's stuck. Meanwhile, someone with $0 saved is making decisions from a place of fear and scarcity. They stay in bad jobs because they can't afford to lose a single paycheck. They don't invest in themselves because they don't believe they could recover from the expense. They turn down opportunities because they're terrified of the risk. The $1,000 in your account isn't just money, it's proof of concept. It's validation that you're the kind of person who can build wealth. And that shift in self-perception is worth more than the actual dollars.
The accelerating returns. Now let's talk about why getting to $10,000 feels almost easy once you've broken through that first barrier. At $3,000 saved, your money earns about $20 per month. At $5,000, it's earning $33 per month. At $7,000, it's earning $47 per month. At $10,000, it's earning $67 per month. Each milestone brings you closer to the point where your money is doing significant work without you. But there's another factor most people don't consider: lifestyle inflation immunity. When you've spent months grinding to save your first $1,000, you've built discipline. You've learned to live on less than you earn. You've discovered that happiness doesn't come from spending every dollar you make. So when you get a raise, you don't automatically upgrade your lifestyle. Instead, you think, cool, I can save $300 per month instead of $200. Someone who's never saved money, they get a $200 monthly raise and immediately commit to a $200 higher car payment. Their net worth doesn't budge. This is why wealthy people often live below their means, while broke people live at or above theirs. It's not that wealthy people are cheap, they've just experienced the psychological reward of watching their money grow, and that's become more valuable than the temporary high of buying stuff. The opportunity advantage. Here's something that doesn't show up on any compound interest calculator, but might be the most valuable part of having money saved: opportunities. Life throws opportunities at everyone. The difference is people with savings can actually seize them. Your company announces they're offering training for a high-paying certification, but it costs $800 upfront. Someone with $5,000 saved jumps on it. Someone with $0 saved can't even consider it. Your friend is selling a car worth $5,000 but $3,500 because they need cash fast. Easy purchase if you have savings, impossible if you don't. A stock market crash happens and everything's on sale. People with cash get wealthy. People without cash watch from the sidelines. Or here's a real-world example. Your landlord offers to sell you the house you're renting at 10% below market value because they want a quick, easy sale to someone they trust. If you have $8,000 saved for a down payment, you can make it happen. If you have $0, you just watch someone else buy your home and become their tenant. This happens more than you think. Opportunities favor the prepared, and being prepared means having cash available. The wealthy don't get wealthy just by saving. They get wealthy by having capital available when opportunities arise. Your first $1,000 doesn't just grow through compound interest. It positions you to take advantage of chances that broke people have to pass up. Warren Buffett has a famous quote: "Be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful." But here's what he doesn't say in that quote: you can only be greedy when others are fearful if you actually have money to invest. Fear creates opportunity, but only for people with capital.
The real cost of zero savings. Let's talk about what $0 in savings actually costs you. When your car breaks down and needs a $600 repair, what happens? You put it on a credit card at 22% interest. That $600 repair now costs you $732 if you take a year to pay it off. Someone with $1,000 saved pays cash. Same repair, but it costs them $600 instead of $732. That's a $132 difference for the exact same problem. And it's not just repairs. When you have no savings, you pay overdraft fees, take out payday loans with predatory rates, can't negotiate better deals, and stay locked into expensive month-to-month arrangements. Being broke is expensive. Having even a small cushion saves you from these poverty taxes that drain thousands from your account every year. The breaking point. So when does it actually get easier? When does the momentum shift from working against you to working for you? For most people, the magic number is around $2,000 to $3,000 saved. That's the point where you have enough to cover most emergencies without going into debt. Your investments are generating noticeable monthly returns that you can see. Your confidence is high enough to make bigger financial moves. The psychological shift from saver to investor starts happening naturally. Once you hit this threshold, getting to $5,000 feels inevitable. It's no longer a question of if, but when. And $5,000 to $10,000, that happens faster than you expect, because now you're not just saving, you're optimizing. You start asking completely different questions than you used to. How can I increase my income so I can invest more? What's the most tax-efficient way to save? Should I pay off this debt or invest the money? Which investment vehicles give me the best returns for my situation? These are wealthy person questions. Broke people don't ask them because they don't have any capital to optimize. But once you cross that threshold, your entire relationship with money transforms from survival to strategy. The harsh truth. Here's something I need to be straight with you about. Most people will never save their first $1,000, not because they can't, but because they won't push through the psychological warfare that happens in those first few months. They'll save $300, then their friends invite them on a trip. They'll dip into their savings and tell themselves they'll make it up next month. Except next month there's another temptation, another excuse, another emergency. They'll look at their $427 in savings after 3 months and think, this is taking forever, what's the point? And they'll stay broke, not because of their circumstances, but because they gave up right before the breakthrough. So here's my challenge to you. Save $1,000, not $10,000, not $50,000, just $1,000. I don't care if it takes you 5 months or 12 months. The timeline doesn't matter. What matters is proving to yourself that you can do it. Once you have that $1,000, I guarantee your perspective on money will never be the same. You'll understand what I've been talking about this entire video because you'll feel it yourself. The mathematical advantage of compound interest is real. The psychological transformation is real. The opportunity advantage is real, but none of it matters until you take that first step.
Getting to $1,000 is brutal. It requires real sacrifice. It requires saying no when everyone else is saying yes. It requires believing in a future version of yourself that you haven't met yet. But here's what nobody tells you. It's supposed to be hard. That difficulty is the filter. That's what separates people who build wealth from people who stay stuck. Once you prove you can do hard things with money, everything else becomes easier. Not because the math changes, but because you change. Your identity shifts. Your confidence grows. Your entire approach to financial decisions transforms. Your first $1,000 isn't just money in an account. It's evidence that you're capable of more than you thought, and that's worth more than any amount in a bank account. So, what's it going to be? Are you going to be one of the people who complains about how hard it is, or are you going to be one of the few who actually does it? The choice, like always, is yours. If this video changed how you think about money, hit that like button and subscribe for more real talk about building wealth. And drop a comment telling me where you're at in your savings journey. Whether you're at $0 or $10,000, I want to hear from you. See you in the next one.